right, y'all. Welcome to High Rollers Live, RoundTable 2, plan, reflect, and general chat. And the planning part is really just, us just looking at the market, looking at the structure of things. Sometimes on the decentralized side, sometimes in the trench side, because it's all given a roadmap, it's all given data. To reflect is what we've taken in, what we're going to do going forward, not financial advice. And then the general chat is just normally where all the high rollers will show up. We can just have family like we used to, round table discussions. How you doing? How's your family? How's this? How's that? Might go into something, might not. Like the old days of PD, Essence just sitting around giving us game. That's what that's tended to be. But we'll see how that goes. So welcome to Round Table 2. So with the plan, I was really going into the market. Everybody knows CZ, Trump did their thing. And then we seen the tokens from Mastr. I need to throw some of that up, but I'm not really doing it that great per se. I don't. That's the thing about not planning. You don't. I know it's structured, but I feel like when I used to take pictures of my grandmother was like, "Why you take that picture? I wasn't ready." I'm like, "Those are the best pictures." you get all the nervousness, all the authenticity, and it actually motivates you and guides you in a while. So, with everything with CZ and Trump, and Trump, CZ got pardoned. That's making me look at what I wanted to look at from the high rollers, like how we look at the market and how we see things going forward. Now, I don't have a political horse in this race. I know a lot of people say they do, but me generally, if I really go to my real thoughts, I don't care about what nobody's doing because I look at things through esoteric levels, more holistic levels. I never look at, people say they don't see color, and then it's like you find out they got a 6K TV. I don't even have a TV. Okay, I do, but it's more so like this. I don't judge human activities. That's the best way I can describe it. I observe them, and then I make a decision that best fits with the narrative of what we need to do here. And the main thing we need to be doing, if anything, if I really break it down to the most basic level, is two: spiritually, getting in alignment with whatever that is for you; physically, protecting your family, your household, your money. The end. So, with that said, with everything that's going on with them, which is really more so, it goes back to the old ethos of where I'm from, where people say mind your business. And in a way, this is our business because it affects our markets and our money and things like that. Looking at everything that Mastr said and those things like that. And Mastr pretty much went on a big tangent about how everything within this market was kind of manipulated from Sailor on down. And I had got at him, not in a disrespectful way, but after I look back at him, like, damn, I did ask a lot of questions. But he pretty much was like, giving out the big speech of the big FUs to Twitter and crypto and KOLs and central exchanges. I'm like, okay. In the back of my head, I'm not one person to fight, but I'm like, okay, if the whole thing is a scam, if everything is centralized in a way, if everything, Michael Saylor, you got that, okay. You got Trump with the tokens and the Wolf and all that. You got CZ with the control of Binance and they liquidate the market. Let's just say allegedly. And you got all these other things. And then I ain't gonna say that one, but if you got all these things, where is not saying you should sell hopium, but I like to give people solutions, and that's where the plan comes in. If the world is gonna move this way and it's gonna have that ethos of doom and gloom, what do we tell the people that just got on board into Coinbase or wherever they came in through? Because I know they might not came straight through memes, but they just came in, they just got through. What do we tell those people? We can't, hey, it's all doom and gloom. Do you go back to traditional stocks? Do you go back to ETFs? And I don't think it's nothing wrong with any of those either. I actually thought about opening me up a long position in VU just for the data. It's something I always wanted to do, but that's neither here nor there right now. It's just a perception of like, what do you tell the people that don't know what to do long term and they're wondering about what this market is going to become, and they're wondering all these videos floating around of the 4-year cycle has ended and people making their plans based off what used to be versus what is now. That's what makes me look at the market right now and say, what can we do? What can we plan? What can we change? Okay, and I'm not going to now. Let me acknowledge, I will say this about Mastr. It's nice that he's doing that work over there. And it's very, very, very few people within. I don't consider that a trench token at all, but it's more so, it's a token of honesty, the ethos behind it, but it's still a token. And I'm not here to shield it at all. My whole ethos is this. I want us to move within a way that just gets us to, I guess, a better level. And where I've been going with my mindset, which is one thing I didn't want to differentiate from my high rollers because of how we started in the trenches. A lot of them are still in the trenches, still in their perspective tokens, things they love and things they respect. And that's one thing I tend to never try to do. I never try to disrespect what anybody's into, how anybody moves, how they get to their money or not. But with me growing and me trying to get to these new waves and motives, I'm just trying to grow the mindset. Now that's where my true logic lies. I want to grow the mindsets of the people around me so that we can make smarter moves out here. And we don't have to get on the wave of, like Brady taught us so much game. We don't have to get on the cabal wave and try to manhandle things out here. But I've really been trying to figure out, how do we use this perspective to get to the next point? Because one thing I want, like I say, I want to keep everybody protected, but we know now, like, okay, Mastr said half of everything out here is pretty much centralized now. The whole ethos of why I got into the trenches is pretty much not what it is. Nothing is decentralized. Everybody wanted the banks to come in. Everybody wanted the government to come in. Everybody wanted all these countries to have strategic reserve. And now, according to what Brady said, they only need 3% of your supply to control a lot of things. So at one point, and then I also know, if I have the data of being a Bitcoiner, which I'm not a Bitcoiner within this perspective of like, I'm gonna throw up orange gang signs on you, but I'm from the perspective of this. I respect everything that everybody's into, and I 100% know, if I go to a holistic or a different type of wave, that I know that it's more than one way to get to a bag, number one. It's more than one way to grow the people, number two. And it's multiple ways and multiple entries to almost any and everything. So I tend to try to be everywhere and do a little bit of too much. But my whole point is this: what are the ways we can protect each other in the future? And I believe, as far as the trenches and things like that, that's going to be aligning with things that at least have some type of moral and spiritual value. And for me, that's going to be building relationships with people. Like I said, I said last week, it was only 3 devs I rock with. That got cut down to 2, and not for no specific reason. It's just true connections with people in the trenches that don't make you lose money, or rare. And the only person I can really vouch for out there is Brady. And not knowing them too great, but just seeing the movements and seeing the growth, is Mastr. But that's specifically a token, and it's actually a group of people. But this is not a shield to say go buy that. But what I'm really about now, I know I respect everybody where everybody's at. I don't think it's big. I'm gonna Bitcoin you out. It's gonna be Bitcoin of the world. I don't think like that. I think that's just a tool. I don't like to get too lost in the sauce within, like, trying to be like quality with it, but I still want people to be growing and expand their minds and not going through the same things we went through last time, which was, we've been through some rug pulls. Me and everybody in this group, we met over like 2 years ago, most of the high rollers, and Dev pretty much rugged us really bad. We put up a lot of, like, it wasn't a normal thing, and it was a BNB token, and if it would have still been around, I'm pretty sure we would have been the ones still running this thing, because there's nothing honest over there at this point, to be honest. Like, nothing's moving. And even if we wasn't moving, we still would have had that collective and that ethos of moving forward. We ran the market cap up to 2 million by ourselves with just like 2 or 3 people. Like, it was really that deep, that intricate. And me personally, I put up more money than I could have took out. I probably put 10 grand into marketing, to be honest. But I'm a little bit idiotic and a little bit crazy with money. But my whole point is, I really believe in the ethos of what we was trying to pushing. And like a lot of people coming in now, there's going to be a lot of things that they could find, a lot of tokens and things that they could find that they end up walking into and thinking they real, and then they ended up not doing so great. Now, I'm not going to say don't play in your perspective field. I'm just going to say, I still trade a little bit of meme coins here and there, but when I do it, it's a cup of coffee or maybe 2. And when I do it, it's for fun. And I think people take the ethos of fun out of things. Like, actually, well, I think what really happened is the hedge funds and then all the devs and the KOLs, and I'm pretty sure majority of them were paid, from what I've been hearing in the background, majority of them were paid from a lot of the people in traditional finance to do exactly what they was doing, to make all these farms, to rug the people, to get them in all these tokens, to run them up and run them down, to take that money, to turn it into the more hardcore assets, the Ethereum, the Bitcoins, the XRPs, etc. How do I know? Because I was watching the blockchain, I was watching them do it, maybe on a small scale, but that's what I truly believe. I always thought majority of that was farms for people to get. I always thought majority of that was farms to extract liquidity, pretty much. And I feel like they came in and they saw like people was really like behind the ethos of community. You know, the ones that took off the Doge coins, the Pepes, the things that really went crazy. And they said, hey, we can get these people to hold them. We can keep forming them. We can keep pushing it forward. We can keep doing it over and over again. And we'll lock them in place and unequivocally make workers out of the people that were really just trying to have fun. And it's always somebody that probably came on and said, I'm finna buy this contract and do this and move this around, and I'm finna just keep siphoning liquidity off these people and move it on. And that's what I don't want a lot of my people to do anymore. I'm not gonna say I don't want them to do it. I just want them to be aware of the game. Like going back to that Mastr post, there's nothing wrong with playing the game. I feel like at this point, with everything I've learned, you have to at least, you know how they say you have to stay safe or stay dangerous, but most people can't be dangerous because they're not even a threat. I feel like we need to become quote unquote threats. By that I mean, I'm for example, I'm in Bitcoin. They get mad at people that trade. They get mad at people that do anything outside the norm. And I'm like, I feel like everybody should learn how to trade. Me learning how to trade is how I found out that dev was trying to get over on us, because that started making me watching a chart in the blockchain. And when I started learning those things, I started seeing him make the moves he was making. I was like, that's very odd. So I'm not saying everybody should be in the bag I'm in or do what I'm trying to do. What I'm saying is everybody should learn all the tools of this market. TA ain't the rule, because these markets can do whatever they wanted to. If you can look at the liquidity dump that happened last, what was it? It happened last about 2 weeks ago. That woke up my eyes because I got liquidated on 2x leverage. I was like, how did that happen? But with that happening, it's all right. It just makes me reevaluate, which goes into the first part of this thing, the plan. How are we gonna plan to keep our money, move ahead, sharpen people, protect people, and move forward? And that's really where I'm at with it. I want to continue. I want to continue to do that. So with that, I say, look into Mastr. You don't have to buy the token. He throws up great things all the time. And he specifically talks about, I say he, but it's a conglomerate of people. All they do is call out the multitude of scams that they see every day without fail. Now they do have a token. If you want to get into it, get into it. I don't even own any personally. I just follow them. I've been following them since they probably had 100 followers. Now they got 20,000. And what they really specialize in, I know they got things they offer, but just if you, without buying anything, they specialize in exposing all of the fraud within crypto, altcoins, pick something. And they've just been very, very helpful. In addition to Brady, those two right there helped me kind of like get out that psychosis of just trying to play with everything. Because back in the days, we was running around believing in everybody, putting up money for everybody, staying in rooms, locking ourselves in purpose for everybody, and then half the time the devs wasn't right. They wasn't even building anything. Okay, people in the trenches like to call themselves devs, when in actuality they more like the people that would probably just sell you contracts for real estate or something like that. Like, you didn't put anything in on this foundation. You just you're just getting things facilitated in the background. You can get that house built, but you're not a builder. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that that's what most people are. They putting things together. Anybody can go launch something. They just putting things together and making people believe in it. And too many times it's not backed by anything. It's not too many times it's not even backed by a actual product. It's backed by the promise of product. It's not even backed by the emotion of fun or good memes. It's just backed by basically nothing. So I said to say, that's why I like Mastr, because he'll come through like something to get launched that day, and he'll be like, yeah, that's BS. Yeah, that's BS. Yes, that's BS. Now he venturing more into the hardcore stuff because it's making everybody look at the market like memes were fun for me until Punt Fun came, to be honestly. And then I feel like that's when it became a big liquidation game and things like that. So now, what I will say, my advice, one thing I realize we got to keep the money, and a lot of people say don't play with this, don't play with that, don't do that. One thing I like to do is I like to trade native tokens. If you're going to play, this is what I feel. Everybody should be learning how to trade, not financial advice, or at least know how to look at a chart and say, don't buy here, don't buy here. Even if you just learned RSI and stochastic RSI, that would protect you a whole lot. Anytime stochastic RSI passes 80 for the most part, I exit. And I live by that. And I got two great trades today. And when I first started trading, my first 20 trades, I literally did that in an uptrend. That's all I had to do. When a downtrend came, it taught me a lot of lessons. But it also taught me and it gave me the data to say, at least you want to be at least be able to look at a chart and protect yourself. When you see somebody out here shilling the project, charts are not the rule, because almost anything out here can be manipulated. Value can be manipulated. Trenches can be manipulated. There's so many layers of things that can be manipulated, but I'm talking about decentralized or not. There's so many things that can be manipulated. But I say I use the chart as a tool, not a rule. So I'll go look at it. Somebody say, hey, come buy my token, da 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 da. I go and look at the thing and it's completely oversold and it's finna come down. And that's how I know they pumping their bags to exit. That's how I know how they moving. So I say it's very little things you can do to protect yourself out here, even if you choose to still trench responsibly. But that's a whole nother story. So that's one reason why I like Mastr. I like Mastr a lot, even though I did ask him like 50 questions the other day. Let me see if I can find those questions, because I blew up his spot. He literally said, hey, man, you asked me too many questions. But I ain't going to lie. I was a little bit on the, I wasn't emotional, but it's from my perspective, because I used to have that mindset of, hey, let's run it up, let's do this, let's get like that. So anyway, I'm going to run through the questions I asked him, because he said all these things about BlackRock, which is mostly into like a lot of different tokens. Like maybe like a lot of this stuff out here is really controlled, and I ain't gonna get into it. Like I got all the data, but just read that post that BCR pinned up there. It does put some things into perspective, and I am a Bitcoiner, but I am more paranoid than the average person. I really don't trust nobody, to be honest. I trust I'm more like a Warren Buffett S type. I trust when I stable up and I put my money into stable coin, barely. I put my money into Bitcoin, barely. I trust when I put my money to the side and I prepare for a dip. I've always believed it's going to be a dip. That's what I trust. But anyway, a couple questions I asked him. I said, I appreciate the knowledge, but what are the solutions? Okay, we playing the game for what position? Do we not play at all? Do we play new games? How do we protect what's honest? Is there anything worth protecting? If it's all artificial, how is Mastr token going to help us? Beyond financial gain, what's next? And I think that's the big picture that most people don't ask. Beyond financial gain, what is next? Because for the most part, when I got into DeFi, it was for DeFi proclivities. I wanted to see what was real out here. And to be honest, the whole time we was there, it was not about DeFi at all. It was about money. It was never about, I mean, until I got into Bitcoin, I didn't self-custody anything. And half the things we did self-custody, it wasn't nothing really self-custody for the most part. But I hope it's gonna be better solutions out there for us to learn from and protect and move around out here, because I really just don't want us to keep falling. That's where my mind is with the high rollers right now. Like I said, I don't have no problems with how nobody moves or what they do, but I feel like at some point we have to be. Even you can stay respective to where you are. Like shout out to XPX, shout out to all them guys, because I used to be in XPX. I don't have a problem with XPX. It's just me. XPX actually have products that work that I should use for the Oscar card, but shout out to everybody that moves how they move. Shout out to K. I see you in here. Shout out to, let's just see who in here. Shout out to K. He's a hard worker. He bust moves. He's still going hard for what he believes as far as being in the trenches. All the tokens he's into on Solana. So shout out to him. Shout out to KB. I ain't seen you in a minute. I got a new phone. Hit me up at some point. I'll store you back in there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know nobody's number. I get a lot of scam calls, and this don't do not disturb half the time. And shout out to this other guy. Shout out to y'all. But anyway, my whole point is I just want to go over the ethos of what I want for us moving forward. And I know it's not just about what I want, but I still want to be able to go with the original ethos. Even though I don't have a token to shield, there is no token connected to the high rollers right now. But I still want to protect what we were doing in here. And then, like I said, from the beginning, I want everybody, it's not just about the high rollers, it's not just about me. I want everybody to be growing a brand. Even if I don't have to even agree with the brand. As long as it's moral, I'll support you. I don't care. I want everybody to be growing so you don't have to depend on one person, not even me. This is something I learned when I was watching Didi and all those things happening in the background. I said, I see what's happening here, and if we sit here and we raid all day, that's fine, but we better, like the Denzel meme, I better be leaving here with something. I'm not going to leave here with nothing. And I feel like that's like in general in life. Go hard for people, but always be building something for yourself, because people like me, I'm going to support you. I want you to run it up. I want you to be successful, even if it's not with me, and just keep protecting, keep building, keep spreading that ripple out. That's really all I can think about. So as far as protecting ourselves going forward, one other thing I will get into, CK Cardano is a guy I met through some spaces a while back when I used to be with like digital and modern and marketing. I said Mark, that's my friend. But CK Cardano talks about the UTXOs and tokens that run off the UTXOs. And I ain't going to act like I know what that is, but in general, I can get the gist. That's Bitcoin, Litecoin, ADA, and one of them other ones I forgot. But the gist behind that is those are tokens with limited supplies. Almost everything out here can be manipulated and can have supply added to it. That's why most of the Bitcoiners don't like altcoins, because people keep playing with the supplies, unlocking supplies and things like that. But Bitcoin, Litecoin, ADA have finite supplies. And those are the type of things that you can't fake math. And Litecoin and ADA and all those other ones, I believe, I ain't like I know those, but being a UTXO just like Bitcoin, they should have halving cycles, and those halving cycles are going to make the prices of those things less and less over time. I'm not here to show you Litecoin and ADA. I'm just saying, for what he taught me, the math works. And as Bitcoin going through all these halvings, people are going to be able to get less and less sats per dollar. I'm not here to shield Bitcoin at all, but I'm really just talking about the whole reason why I ever got into Bitcoin was to protect my money. I didn't get in there to throw up orange gang signs. I didn't get in there to have powwows and shit on people that trade me. I don't care about none of that. I initially got into it when I was in the high rollers, when we were hosting spaces, and I said, I need to protect my capital. How can I protect my capital? This thing over here, for our perspective field and how we see things move, things run up 1,000%, they pull back 800%. Bitcoin looked very safe. So that's why I said, okay, in order for me to stop being stupid and dumping $2, $3, $4, $5,000 in a project, like when Pablo used to launch a project, I'll throw 3 or 4K in there. I was very idiotic. I had to apply a little bit of layer of stewardship, and then I actually started making money. Ironically, I started putting $10 into different memes on XRP early because I started seeing formulas of like, oh, the Jeets aren't here yet. The people that are, let me not say Jeets, the people that are not astute to investing and trading, even the devs wasn't there to rug the chain yet. So you could actually play with stuff before it got honest. And I have tips about if you was gonna still trade memes and things, and you wanted to front run people, start looking at the chains that haven't got the traction like they're supposed to yet. For example, like Sui. Sui went crazy last year. A little bit, very slightly. They had a couple of them on there, hit a couple billion, a couple different things. Fine. Start looking for new tokens, new native chains before they get popular. Then you can at least potentially front run and protect some projects and probably protect some devs from themselves because they just launching stuff, make you a little bit of money, and then you get to see things early. And if you do that just right, for example, I put $10 into a meme on XRP when XRPL came out and they started running up everything. That thing went from $10 to about $1,000 in a week. But because XRP was still so low, I pulled that $1,000 out and turned it into like 2,000 XRP. And then I could have held that XRP, ran that back up, and then you could have went back into the memes and played with whatever you want. That's really all I've been doing with every chain. I get in early, I make the bag, I put it back into the native, and then I start playing around. Because that's what the devs have been doing this whole time. Or they wait till the chain gets a little bit dead, like it's finna die out, and then they buy up the bag of the native, and then they wait for that to run, and then they just start taking all that appreciation and making contracts on Pump Fund or 4Meme or whatever. That's really all they do. Whatever chain, that's all they do. They just run it up and do it that way. So that's some kind of alpha a little bit, but what I'm saying is there's smarter ways to like move out here. For example, Rico put out XPX when it was like BNB was $400. Nobody knew BNB was going to $1,300, but there was multiple ways to get appreciation out here. And with me saying all that, I just say I want everybody to think about different ways they could run up a bag, protect the bag, and protect these networks as they unfold. But even then, going back to CK Cardano in the math, and thanks be sure for throwing up that tweet. He said, so for every 1 Bitcoin, there are 4 Litecoin. So I use 4 Litecoin as the initial goal while it's still accessible for most people. Who wouldn't take a chance to get 1 Bitcoin for less than $500? 4 Litecoin equals freedom. Just at a time, I think he made a typo, but anyway, he said it's 21 million Bitcoin. That's the supply. Limited supply of Bitcoin is 21 million, and a lot of people lost their keys and things like that. Limited supply of Litecoin is 84 million. And that's just simple math, and those things have halving. So at some point, most people say just buy the Bitcoin. I'm the type of person, if you're trying to make some money, I want everybody to make some money. So I know I'm going to make some money on Bitcoin long term, but some people might have shorter goals. I think people tell people to just stack, and I'm like, that's just fine, but I know some people out here 70, 80 years old. They're not trying to wait for Bitcoin to run to 10 million. They got stuff to do, respectively. So I can't really tell nobody how to get to their money, but I can only say this is the only thing I can do. I can point out things I see weekly, and we can build off that. And if it works for you, cool. If it don't, cool. It's no judgment. There's no shield. There's nothing to sell. Nothing like that. I just want to at least put the opportunities in people's face so they can start saying, okay, I can protect my money, I can protect my stack, I can look for the future. Because I remember when I was in the trenches way back in the day, and I was looking for people, and I couldn't find nobody to tell me these things, and I didn't have an X account, even though I still, with my brain, I managed to make 50 grand off $800 because what exactly right, what I'm talking about right now. I never put everything in one place. I practice the law of averages. I put things in multiple. And look, speak of what I'm talking about. There goes C4 Poppy. It's almost the same but different. C4 Poppy had like 60 ETFs. He got it down like 40 or 30. He keeping it going or something like that. I was going into the story about I don't want everybody to like, if you want to be in all Bitcoin, cool. If you want to be in cool meme coins, cool. One thing I'm big on is diversification. The reason why I was able to make 50 grand in the trenches last time with no social media accounts and nothing, it was simply just the law of averages combined with work. You know, like everybody getting into the Uber phase right now. That's what I was doing then. I went out, $50 a day, delivered pizzas. Every time I came back, that's what 2020, 2018, it's somewhere in there. I don't know. That was in the big pre-sale phase. So I ate off almost every chain up until the point to right now. And I'm in a trading group with Dane, Mac, Amy, and a couple other people. And Everybody got things that they trade respectively, and they asked me what I was doing. Like I said, all I'm doing is trading the liquidity rotations. People are like, what are you talking about? Because this is why I tell everybody I'm always mining data and I always be writing this stuff down. Because if we were to get a 4-year cycle, they say we won't, they say we will. I don't trust nobody the same way they said 4-year cycles, October, all this stuff, and then they inverted it. I don't trust nobody. Keep writing this stuff down because if any of these all these tokens you see now, the SUIs and everybody, nobody was looking. Telegram launched a token for their app called Ton, and it's not getting no traction right now. But I bet you my bottom dollar that the people that's going to start selling meme coin contracts are just accumulating it. Then when it surges, here come the meme coins. If you want to play that game, so keep writing all this stuff down. That's what I did that last bull run. I just kept writing stuff down over and over again. So when this time came around, I called it. I said, I called Bitcoin and I called BNB when it was at 885. I said, oh, okay, we in liquidity rotation time. And because I played on all these chains, I knew exactly the musical chairs they was going to play. And I started opening up my longs and my shorts. And I called BNB at 885. I opened up a long. I rolled it to 1,000. Only one I'm still waiting on to run is Solana. Solana is the only one that hasn't had this big run, but all the other ones been having a mini runs. I caught a 700% long on Crow like a month ago because that was one thing. I know he's not in here. Teague's big on Crow, and I actually had. That was back in the old days when you had to add the RPCs in the MetaMask. I had Crow in my MetaMask, and I still got some on there. And I was like, I remembered how low it got. I'm like, this is like, it was like 6 cents. Now it was like 27 cents. All-time high last bull run was like 95 cents. So I was like, okay, this is something easily meets the understanding leverage. Not the 2x leverage thing, but me understanding that. I said, okay, I understand that I can move. I can, even if I don't even have to get the whole move. The whole point is just keep getting some money and move forward. That's really all I want people to understand. Like, sharpen that mind state. Now, I'm big on futures trading. I think I was trying to do options and so many other things. Shout out to Mac, shout out to C4. I was trying to do options. I was losing my butt off. I ain't gonna lie. I was winning, but I was losing because I was trying to chart the TA to the options and it was working until it didn't. And then me being me, I don't sell. So one thing I'm good at, I wouldn't say great, but I'm good at is futures trading, particularly not the contract side, but the crypto side. And I learned that from Didi. I said, okay, it's so much money out here. Don't have to sell a course. Don't have to rug a token. Just find a way to get to a bag. Once you find a legitimate way to get to a bag out here, whether that's working for it or trading for it or whatever, then you take whatever you now. This was really my theory. You take whatever you make. And now I haven't did this just yet because that's the long way. But if I ever hit a crazy number off one of these things, I still got a lot of stuff sitting there from way back when. I got a bag of Casper. I made a 16x on it. It's been sitting there. I don't look at it. I forgot I had it. Sometimes I got bags of things. If they ever run up and appreciate the way I think they're going to, I'll be rolling all those stuff into ETFs at some point. And I really want to roll it into ones I don't mind keeping for the rest of my life and just sit. Reason why? I want to keep the principle. I don't want it to be like the meme coin days when we will make a big bag, somebody will launch another token, and we'll get rugged real quick. I wanted to start, I was trying to find systems and processes to where I can start playing with the appreciation of my bags. And even though we're not too savvy with traditional finance, do understand one thing. Them dividends gonna keep coming in. When them dividends come in, that'll be what I use to play with the exponential parts of meme coins. Because like I said, they had us thinking we had to see the whole kit, throw the whole kitchen sink at it. And when you do $1,000 on a chart, a person like me can see it. I can see. We was in VIT one time, and there was a guy. We called him out to the T. We had a private chat. I said, Erica, Mike, that was that guy that just did that. I want to show y'all how this manipulation work in real time. He came in and he did a $10,000 buy. And I said, look at this goofy candle. This is not how you DCA into a project. That's showing me your mindset when you just a low liquidity project. If you throw 10K in, somebody's gonna see that green candle and say thank you. Lucky I wasn't in trade mode, but I knew that enough to start identifying people and say, that's that guy. And he came in trying to do his dance, trying to manipulate things, and he ended up leaving. I watched him till he left. He lost like $6,000, but he leaves left with something. My whole point is, it's ways to move out here. If we start getting the money coming, okay, I'm speaking for myself. When I start getting the money coming in, I'm gonna do what I was doing on XRP and what I did on Solana a little bit. I started stewarding my money and I started taking $10 here and there. I put $10 in Barsic, I made $1,000. I put $10 in Phoenix, I made $1,000. I put $10 in Laugh token, I made $1,000. Where are those tokens now? And they may or may not come back. I think Phoenix gonna be a long runner, but I don't even look at it like that because when you got house money, like I said, all these tokens I got from last bull run, when you got house money, you don't have to go look at it all. You just like, this is what I was doing in 2021. I was on my C4 method. I was just buying a bag every day, buying a pre-sale every day, putting $50 into all these different tokens every day, diversifying. One thing I'm really big on diversifying because you don't want not one person to collapse your house of cards. And what happened is one of those 50s turned into 6,400 because it's trenches. And then I took that money and that became the capital for me not to deliver no more pizzas. And then I could strictly focus on the charts and the groups and the communities. And then once I did that, locked in, that's when the real life TA came out. Then I never had to add no more capital. I took that capital and I said, okay, let me steward this. I took a fifth of it, put it into a token called Reflecto. And that whole token, I think I made 32 grand in 2 weeks. And that was how I made majority of my money. But it all started with diversifying, spreading it out. And then if I did make a 2X on the bag really quick, I would sell it because nothing's better than house money. I'll take that and say, okay, I had the DGen method mindset of I'm Warren Buffett. I need to accumulate as many things that I think are assets as possible. And I need to let these things grow and appreciate. So I kept doing that, ran up a bag, boom. These are all things that can be replicated. Every token, all these surges we've been getting lately. I even applied the same method to Coinbase. Didn't know anything. But when you got enough money coming in and you can like move it around in increments, you can see things. I only do things for data. Did the same thing, $50 a day, but I put it in 50 different tokens on auto for 6 months. That ended up, BCR knew the story behind this, but shout out to my 10 Solana. That's where I got the 10 Solana from way back then. That would have been worth 30K if I would have got it back. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But all that money I appreciate it. And I still got some of that stuff I'm still holding. I still got XRP. I got bags and bags of things that people said are shit coins that I got for free, basically. And I'm just letting it sit there. Each bag did a 5 to 8X because it was the bear market and nobody was looking. Hopefully, I ain't gonna say hopefully because people got to get ready for that, but hopefully these things have a chance to repeat. We can keep writing down this data, writing down, like what, if I had to choose some things right now, like, okay, if it was a bear market right now, what would I buy next time? If it was a bear market, I know these things won't rebound. I know they got community that love them. What would I buy? Or even just based off the liquidity rotations. It'll be the same ones. It'll be BNB, Solana, XLM, XRP, Crow. Nobody talks about Crow, but I'm pretty sure they're working on something. ETH. It'll be all pretty much all the top 10, top 20, and maybe some stuff we're not looking at. But I digress. My whole point, I ain't here to tell my life stories. It's multiple ways to get to a bag out here. It's multiple ways to run it up. It's multiple ways to protect yourself, your mindset, and to move around out here. Just looking at things right now, everything we had to learn, everything we went through up to this point, it was all about sharpening the mindset and also figuring out if you take the time to write it out, you can do it for yourself. You can get the data, you can run it back up. If you want to play in the trenches, that's fine. Trench responsibly. Trench responsibly. I understand most of these people. You could have a great dev, shout out the 3, but here goes the problem. Great devs, sometimes if you find an open-hearted dev, 9 times out of 10, they're going to attract people that want to use them and be around them for attention, or they want to be around them so they can buy their projects or so they can trade at the dev. For example, 3 was a dev on Spectre. My story behind Spectre was this. I didn't know 3 was a dev on Spectre when I met her through Trench background connections. A guy named Area 52 DM me, said, hey, you've been solid doing all the stuff for the high rolls. Way back when he said, I just want you to put something in this. I don't care what you put in and put something in there. I said, okay, I put $50 in there. If I would have never sold it, that bag would have been worth like 10 grand. And that's an actual real project, but I digress. My whole point was I didn't know she was a dev on that project. And then she launched the project she launched that ended up not going so well because what happened is she didn't fail at all. She's a great builder. She knows how to do things. She was actually at the first project that had tokenized stocks on the market before tokenized stocks were on the market. I think she actually scared. Okay, either she was so far ahead of the game, or maybe she knew something we didn't know. But she launched tokenized stocks. She still got that credit. She don't even take credit for that. She launched tokenized stocks 2 days before everybody did. And I was like, the timing is ridiculous. How like they saw us launch, and then it just all that market share got took up. But damn, that was supposed to be my $1 million play. But that's crypto. This is why you take profits, which I didn't lose anything. But one thing I don't like to see out here is I don't like to see good people lose, and I like to see good people get supported. But sometimes I kind of get what the Bitcoin is saying. Sometimes the problem ain't the dev, but 99% of the time in the trenches, the problem is the dev that just launches a contract and knows what he's going to do and doesn't try to actually produce anything or build anything for the people. And then we transition to Brady. Oh, hey, KB, what's going on?
Oh man, I was just when you was talking about 3, man. Yeah, man, I got to reach out to her, man, because yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. I met 3 through KB a long time ago. I'm talking about before anything. 3 introduced me to, and I actually forgot that. KB introduced me to 3 a long time ago, and he said, "Hey, I got to know this Dev, can do something. Good person, good woman. Check this out." And in my head, I was like, "Man, I don't want to hear nothing about no devs. I'm trying to figure out what December doing." But anyway, after a while, somehow it clicked. Oh, I know what happened. She finally started. She came and showed love. She came and started coming in our spaces. She came in our Telegram. She started asking questions and just really started trying to know people. And I said, "Oh, she actually a kind person." I said, "Even if," and that's what I did from the beginning. I said, "Even if this fails, I don't care. What I'm going to do from now on, no matter what, is I'm going to support the people around me as long as I can prove that they're real people." And I think it was, I don't even know how many early investors it was, but I think I gave her like 2 or 3 grand. I said, if I get it back, cool. If I don't, cool. And she ended up giving us one of the craziest entries into a project ever. That thing hit like 2 million a couple times. she let me get in there like, she put all the private investors in there at 40K. And I want to show like, and we was doing we was on the spaces with the high rollers. Everybody had a chance to invest. I always believe in branching out, diversification, watering your bags. And she let us in there so early and just got us in there. It was pretty cool. I thought, what can I say? It was pretty cool. So anyway, not about that, just about watering the right people. You find the right opportunities and you'll meet great people. But 3's a great person. And I ain't gonna lie, she kind of messed up right now because people didn't, you know how it is. People in there trying to do their DJing things, then they get mad when things don't go right. So it is what it is. But I digress. But yeah, but that all brings me to Brady. So Brady's somebody that kind of exposed a lot of this stuff to me early. I met Brady through Teague. Teague DM me, said, "Hey, check this guy out. I think you might like him. He's a great guy. Check him out." I said, "Cool." Rocked with him for a little bit. And as far as trench talk and how he was moving, like first meme coin he ever launched, he launched a coin based off his daughter's drawing. I was like, I can rock with that. That's cool. And it did a little dance. And then he launched a couple. He always been a builder, is what I'm saying. So I don't particularly shield or anything like that. But one thing I still try to do is I try to support great people. And I ain't gonna lie, with me being in Bitcoin and everything I'm doing now, it's very few people. It's very, very few people to support, to be honest. As far as like in the trenches, I just very few people, like very few projects I can say, "Hey, do this." Very few. But, and maybe I'll make a space about that next week about potential opportunities. I don't want to wear it out tonight, but he's supposed to be launching a limited supply blockchain and trying to do something within the hemp industry. And he's big in the hemp industry, got a big LinkedIn, got a big following. Ben had money, don't necessarily need crypto money. He knows how to run a business. He knows a lot of things like that. So he's really trying to launch this multifold. I don't exactly understand the whole reason behind it. I know it's for the hemp industry for sure, but I don't want to talk about it like I'm trying to shield it because I don't. But I'll just say, if you want to lock in for the people that still like to invest, play around, and also support great people, go check that out. I still want to just continue to look around and see what we can find, see what we can get into. So next week, it's always going to be something to do. It's always going to be something to learn with everything out here. So I'm going to just keep trying to run it back that way. And whatever I relay or get, I give to the people. Keep that high roller spirit going. Because in reality, that's been my biggest battery.
Taking the shape, just stay in the moment. War from the ether, move with care, make the future feel it. It will need it.